Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to hang the tail feathers on the Fokker D.VII. Before we begin today, the fuselage is not being agreeable again with trying to hang the tail feathers on it. I've got, right now it's sitting out there and I'm going to bring out and show you. Right now the horizontal stabilizer's on, everything's trued up to where it needs to be. And it looks good. Wherever those lined up, it looks good. So I went ahead and grabbed the rudder, or excuse me, the vertical stabilizer, put that up, made sure it was square. And then I looked down, and that twist that I thought I had out of the plane, out of the fuselage, part of it's still there. So I'm going to have to show you what I have to do to get that. So that instead of it looking like this, let me see if I can get this one right. Yeah, I think it's like, no, it's actually like this. So instead of it looking like this, and it's over exaggerated, I'm going to have to try to don't cut the whole thing apart. I'm going to try to leave it hinged at the top. So I'm going to come in, cut it, and I'll do it with my Zona saw, cut all the way right down the middle of the rear part of the fuselage. And I'm going to have to take out the rear tail wheel slider hook thingy. I'm going to have to take that piece out. And then I'm going to have to split it, and hoping that I can get that piece to rotate just enough. Just at that point in time, if I can get it where it can rotate it enough and it's sitting there, I'm going to come in, I'm going to clamp it in that position. I'm going to cross drill and put some bamboo rods through it. So that way everything is held into place. Because I have to fix it. I can't let this one go. You're going to look at it, it's that far out, so it needs to be fixed. And as much as I would rather not have to do it that way, that's the way we're going to have to do it. So let me go ahead, take this camera off, take you in the back, and I want to show you what we got to do. All right, here's what we're looking at. So we are pretty well lined up. It's just a little off to the side. I'm not too worried about that because everything should line up fine once I get it. Now, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. I'm going to try to, because if you look down right now, it looks rock solid. It looks like it's just the way we need it to be. Now, when I put the rudder in, or the vertical stabilizer, sorry about that, and hold it upright, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, if the camera's going to look, it's kind of a bad view with the camera, but you can kind of see at that point. You see where it's offset at the bottom? So it's actually off to the left-hand side, so there is that little bit of twist that goes like this through there. So my goal is to come on in through here. I'll get my Zona saw, it's right over here. I'm going to take this and come straight up, rip it straight up the middle, and see if I can pop that apart. And the one piece that will have to come out will be this bottom piece where the tail gear is hooked up to. So I can always just cut it right here if I care to, but I'm still going to have to split this and rotate this. So this whole piece will come out and I'll split this up the middle. If I had to go ahead and remake another block for this, I'm okay with that. So I just have to decide how I want to do it. I'd rather almost just try to split this up the middle and see what happens first before I go ahead and remove this, because I'm trying to minimize the amount of work I'm going to have to do to try to fix this. Oh, happy joy. It's looking a little better. I came in with the Zona saw, split it up, and I'm just going to kind of see if you can look at it this way. Sorry about that light in the back, can't help it. I just came in with a Dremel tool and just zipped right through. It's just light ply to a piece of, looks like 1/4 inch ply, so I'll be cutting this out. Once I get this all glued back into the proper position, I'll be taking measurements of where everything's at, and at that point I'll cut the pieces out, strip this out, put the crossbar in, and then get another piece of light ply and just make sure it's to that desired shape. But it's going to have to go in, and I got to see which way. I think it needs to angle more. Sorry about that light. It needs to angle more in that direction. I'm back. Did you miss me? I don't know how you are going to be able to see this because of lack of good lighting. It's straight as an arrow now, so I'm good with that. And it's going to be kind of hard to see because it's quite the mess down there, but I did put in the top, there's a bamboo skewer going through this way and one on the bottom this way to hold everything in place, because this had to get pushed this way a little bit and the bottom had to get pushed that way. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but I do have some little bamboo skewers inside here. There's one down here in the bottom between those two clamps, one up here above the other clamp. Those are glued through too with wood glue. So I did go wood glue on this. And you can see, hopefully you can see, we've got good squeeze out. So when this thing gets all taken care of and sets up, and it's not going to be tonight, I'm just going to, we're coming up on 5 o'clock here, so it's going to be dark out quick, and I got to break all this down. So right now I've got it set up, so I'll leave it down here for about a half hour while I'm trying to get everything else cleaned up. And then move it back into the shop, into the smaller part of the shop that's heated. And then I will be back down here tomorrow. Hopefully we're going to be able to get that thing glued on. One day later, everything is properly glued back together. I've got to put this little teeny, whatever we want to call this thing, it's called a horizontal stabilizer mount. I've got to see how well this still wants to fit into this location with the twist taken out of it. And let me show you something that'll give you a better idea how much twist there was in it. As we look down on the top, you can see how much those two pieces are spaced off. It's about 1/16 of an inch. So by getting this properly relocated over and moved it to it, that's why all this has to be cut out. So I'm going to come on in with my little, what do you call this thing, flush mount saw, to see if I can get down inside here to crack that glue joint down here and then on the bottom. So that's going to be the fun part. This joint down here was never really popped apart. That's the problem. So had I paid closer attention the way this thing was lined up, if this piece was cut out, I probably could have gotten rid of all the twist. So right now you can see there's a little bit of bow on this side and there's nothing on this side. So I've got to see what happens when this gets moved out just a little bit. It shouldn't move anything critical. I'll probably get this side wet before I go ahead and put this piece back in. This right now is just being used as a template because I know it'll fit fine up in the front. I don't know how well it's going to fit to the back, so I'm going to sand the edges off to make sure I get the glue joint off of this one, and then we'll see how it wants to fit. As you can see, we're in the process of adhering the horizontal stabilizer to the fuselage. Let me take you off the camera stand and see if we can get a little bit closer look. It's been a long day, because you knew what I had to finish up on this. This is not down to its final sand. I've got to sand it down, and I'm going to put the vertical stabilizer on first. We'll get that taken care of next. I'm going to put some pins through it, going to drop it down, make sure it's straight. Once all the epoxy sets up, then we're going to come in and then we're going to finish this trailing edge of the fuselage to make sure that it is in the right distance in from the rear of the vertical stabilizer. Now on the bottom, I kept you guys out of this part. It wasn't difficult, it just took some time. I went ahead and I cut that piece out that the rear gear attaches to. Went ahead and re-epoxied back in, and sorry, I super glued that back in. Put that in, put the 1/4 inch ply up front to run, let's just call it the horn part of this that goes straight up. So this part is all taken care of. I still have to figure out, if it's on this side or on this side that I'm going to be putting the cutout, the opening for the rudder, because these are for the independent elevators. So as things stand right now, everything is looking very good. I came in, I wanted to make sure that this was true from side to side on the corners. So I came from this part up here, and that was my attachment point. I just had to make sure I hopped it over the top of this one. This was just set up just to make sure that the center was a straight line all the way down to the very end of the tail. That's how I measured that one out. So it was just 2 reference points, and then we came back squared, And we're almost dead on from this corner up to that front one, and then from this corner up to the front one, so we're good. And Mike Kellner, if you're watching this video, that's your B25. It's just a matter of what time I get to hop in the car and bring it out to the pole barn. And of course, do the B17 update. So let me give this thing about another, it's been attached now for probably about 6 or 7 minutes. And my test piece over here, where I mixed it on the boards, it's pretty solid. So the horizontal stabilizer should be set and ready to go. So I'll take all this stuff apart, I'll get everything set up, and I'll go ahead and get that vertical mounted, and then I'll bring you back. So what do you think? We're getting one step closer to prepping this thing for cover. I still have to go ahead and put the ailerons on. That'll come on next video. I'm going to start pulling wire through just to see where I'm going to bring the wire down. I think it's going to come in, I don't know if you can see up front, I'm going to come in through the cabane struts, run on the inside of this side, and then we're going to go ahead and put an actual hole right in the fuselage, so we've got a hole to slip the servo wire in. So it'll be interesting. I've done it before and we will do it again. So let me go ahead and grab the camera off the stand and I'll kind of give you a quick little walk around. And yeah, finally for once, something kind of goes my way. And what I meant by going my way is I knew I was going to have to cut the fuselage apart again anyway. So, and that, although it took time, it was what needed to be done. Now everything is straight. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it, because right now this just keeps with the tape I put on it. It's kind of throwing it a little different direction. All right, that's straight ahead. So as we look straight ahead, that goes right up the fuselage. And we are at 90 degrees. So we're good. We're rock solid on this one. So the tail is now officially done. And we got a whole lot of mess we still have to fix. Because with the wings, for you guys that have been following this, you know there's still little things I'm going to have to do to kind of dress these things up, because I'm not 100% happy with the way that they originally glued the cap strips on, because the cap strips are supposed to come off and get rounded out here, and a lot of them he dropped so short. My thing is either come in and sand these a little bit deeper to make it work, and I'll probably do that, just kind of redress these a little bit so it'll come in, because they're rough too. Come on in and just kind of skate by the tip of this thing. So when I go ahead and cover it, it should look okay, because I really don't want to have to. As you can see here, I've got to go ahead and sand this piece down, because like everything else, it stands way too proud. So like I said, on the other side, in the big part of the shop, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get the ailerons installed with the hinges. So we're going to put those in place. I'm going to make the little servo mount plates for the top wing, and then we're going to have to figure out how I want to go ahead and set everything up for the servos to the tail, because we are going 2 elevator servos and then 1 rudder servo. And as much as I wanted to have that white, and as much as I wanted to have those clear Sullivan control rod things, I can go with Dubro. I'm gonna have to get the bigger stuff though, because this is a 256. I want to go with the 440. So, and like I said, if you guys know, if you've watched this channel before, Dubro is about 1.5 miles from where I work. So normally what I do is I just give them a call and just pop on over, pick up whatever I need. So that way I don't have to wait for them to ship it, because it's cheaper for me just to go pick it up than it is for them to ship it. So I would possibly think about, and I may have some upstairs, I may have some down here, I may think about going with the Sullivan goldenrod out to the tail, because as you all know, the plane's going to be yellow. So if I think about going with the Sullivan goldenrod, the rod that comes out, which is yellow, will be fine with the fuselage. So that one, even though it's going to be yellow, it's going to be a different shade of yellow, but it's going to work better than what I was going to try to do with it. So that is still going to go ahead and give me an option of how I want to do it. So what I'll do is I'll figure out within the next couple days what I want to do, and then go ahead and get whatever it is either ordered through Horizon, wherever I get it from, A-Main. Even Valley, I think it's called Valley RC, which is out of Indiana, which I've gotten stuff before, and they're actually pretty darn quick in shipping. So I kind of like that company. It's a smaller company and they take care of you. So once again, let's just go ahead, let's call this a video, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm back down in the shop.